never thought I'd have to bury my son before I turned 60. The morning of his funeral felt like the world had stopped spinning. Cold rain tapped the church windows like it was trying to come inside, and every time the doors creaked, I looked up, hoping she'd walk through. But she never did. My daughter-in-law, Lena, the woman who'd married my son, Noah, 8 years ago, the one I'd welcomed into our family like my own daughter, the one who was supposed to be standing beside me that day, grieving with me, not wherever she was. The funeral director leaned in close, whispering with that rehearsed tone they all have. "Mr. Harris, should we wait a few more minutes?" I swallowed hard. My throat felt like sandpaper. "No," I said. "Let's begin." 36 people came to say goodbye to Noah. I counted them, because that's what you do when your mind's breaking. You focus on numbers, not emotions. But Lena wasn't one of those numbers. I delivered the eulogy myself, talked about Noah's childhood, his love for the ocean, the time he built a boat out of plywood just to see if he could. Everyone laughed softly, the kind of laugh people make when they're trying not to cry. But I didn't mention how distant he'd become lately, how tired, how something in his voice had changed weeks before he died. And I sure as hell didn't mention the fights he and Lena had been having, or how he told me once that he wasn't sure he could trust her anymore. When the casket closed, I felt something inside me close with it. After the service, I drove alone to the cemetery. No family convoy, no hand to hold. Just me, the hearse, and the sound of rain on the windshield. I should have been focusing on saying goodbye. Instead, one thought looped through my head like static. Where the hell is she? That night, I sat in my kitchen, lights off, whiskey in hand, a habit I'd promised my late wife I'd given up. I called Lena 6 times, straight to voicemail. I texted, no response. I opened my laptop, something I rarely did. Noah had always been the social media guy, not me. But grief makes you desperate. I needed to see her. Needed to know what kind of person skips her husband's funeral. Her profile popped up instantly. Same smile, same perfect blonde curls, same photo from their anniversary dinner last year. Noah's arm around her, both of them glowing. Then I scrolled down. My heart stopped. There she was, posted 3 hours ago. In a red bikini, drink in hand, standing on a beach in Cancun, Mexico. The caption read, "Life's too short not to live it. New beginnings." Next to her, a man, tanned, muscular, tattooed arm wrapped around her waist. I recognized him instantly, their landscaper, Diego. I stared at that post for minutes that felt like hours. While I was throwing dirt on my son's coffin, his wife was toasting new beginnings with another man. The comments were worse. "Finally, you're glowing again. So proud of you for moving on. You deserve happiness, girl." Her sister commented, "So glad you're free of all that drama. He wasn't worth it." Drama. My son's death was drama now. My hands shook as I poured another drink. I tried to tell myself there had to be a reason. Maybe grief made people do crazy things. Maybe she'd lost her mind. Then my phone buzzed. A new message. Unknown number. But when I saw the sender's name, my blood ran cold. "Noah. Dad, come to my house. Don't tell anyone." The glass slipped from my hand and shattered on the floor. I froze. The message just sat there, glowing on my cracked phone screen. It couldn't be real. I'd buried him. I'd seen his body. But what if I hadn't? I grabbed my car keys and drove faster than I ever had in my life. Rain smeared the windshield like gray paint, headlights slicing through the fog. Every mile closer made my chest tighter. Noah's house sat at the end of a quiet street, the same one I'd helped him buy. Everything looked exactly the same, except for the single light glowing in the kitchen window. My hand shook as I used the spare key. "Noah?" The door creaked open, and there he was, sitting at the kitchen table, pale, thinner, eyes sunken but alive. "Dad," he said quietly. "I'm sorry. I couldn't breathe. You're supposed to be dead." He nodded slowly, eyes full of something between shame and fear. "I know, but if I hadn't done it, we'd both be dead." He looked like he hadn't slept in weeks, hair messy, stubble darkening his jaw, hands trembling around a cup of cold coffee. "Noah," I whispered, "you're alive." "How?" He motioned for me to sit. "Please, Dad, I'll explain everything. But once you hear this, there's no going back." I sat down, heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my ears. "Start talking." He took a long breath. 6 months ago, I made a mistake at work, a huge one. Noah ran a small consulting firm, finance, contracts, corporate stuff I never fully understood. He was always chasing deals, chasing perfection. "I was managing an account for a company called Pharmatech Global," he said. "They were developing a new arthritis drug. I discovered they were hiding side effects, serious ones. People were getting sick." I frowned. "You reported it, right?" He hesitated. "Eventually. But first, their CEO offered me $500,000 to stay quiet." I slammed my hand on the table. "Tell me you didn't take it." "I didn't," he said quickly. "But I thought about it. We were drowning in debt, Dad. Lena kept spending like money grew on trees. The remodel, the new car, those stupid designer trips. She kept saying the company owed us more, that I was underpaid." He rubbed his eyes. "I couldn't do it. I turned everything over to the FBI, became a whistleblower." That's when I noticed how tightly he was gripping the table edge. "They arrested the CEO last month," he continued. "But before they did, I started getting calls. Threats. People telling me I'd ruined powerful lives, that I'd pay for it." He looked at me with eyes that had seen too much. "So I faked my death." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean, faked your death?" "I had help. Dr. Lang from the hospital, an old college friend. He said I had maybe 24 hours before someone found me. We staged everything, the heart attack, the death certificate, even the autopsy report. Lang made it look real. I felt dizzy. And you let me bury you?" Noah's voice broke. "I didn't want to, Dad. I just didn't have a choice. Crawford's people were watching me. If they knew I was alive, they'd come for you too." I tried to absorb it all. The funeral, the coffin, the endless crying. And now this. "What about Lena? You called her from the hospital. She sounded devastated." He gave a bitter laugh. "Yeah, she acted devastated because she already knew. That made no sense." "She helped you plan this?" "Exactly. She cried, promised she'd keep the secret, said she'd meet me in Canada after things cooled down. New identities, new life, a clean slate." He looked up at me, eyes hollow. "But she had other plans." My voice was shaking. "What plans?" He turned his laptop around. On the screen, emails, bank transfers, screenshots, photos. 3 weeks before I died, Noah said, I noticed money missing from our joint account, small withdrawals at first. When I asked, she said she was buying something special for our anniversary. He clicked to another folder. She was buying gifts, all right, for him. Dozens of hotel receipts, luxury jewelry, designer bags. Every purchase matched the weeks Lena claimed she was visiting her sister. "Miguel, the gardener," I muttered. "Yep," Noah said flatly. "They've been seeing each other for 8 months, and that's not the worst part." He opened another folder labeled Insurance. "What's this?" I asked. "Evidence," he said. Lena took out 3 new life insurance policies in my name, without me knowing. Over $1 million total. I stared at the screen. That's illegal. Not if your spouse signs your name, Noah said bitterly. She forged my signature, Dad. And when I started talking about whistleblowing, she encouraged it. Said it would be a brave new chapter. What she really meant was she'd finally have the perfect cover story. He scrolled again. Screenshots of text messages between Lena and a number labeled Marcus Financial Services. She was talking to a private investigator. She was building a case that I was unstable, Noah said quietly. Telling him I'd been drinking, having breakdowns, making threats. She wanted it to look like I killed myself. I felt sick. She was setting up your suicide, I whispered. Exactly. And those life insurance policies had suicide clauses that still pay out after 2 years. She was going to wait just long enough. I stood up, pacing, gripping the back of a chair. My God, Noah, she planned to kill you. He nodded slowly. Or drive me to do it myself. Either way, she gets rich. I wanted to scream, punch something, anything. But all I could do was stare at my son, alive, broken, and furious. So when you faked your death, I said, you flipped the script on her. He smiled faintly. Exactly. She thought she'd won. She played the grieving widow perfectly, claimed the insurance money within days, then ran off to Cancun with her new boyfriend. His eyes darkened. She doesn't know I'm alive, and she doesn't know I found all of this. What are you going to do? He leaned forward, voice low. Make her pay. I frowned. Noah, we can't just... I'm not talking about violence, he said. I'm talking about justice. Cold, clean, legal justice. He opened another file on his laptop. Legal documents, insurance claims, will revisions, all dated before his fake death. I changed my will the day before everything happened, he said. Cut Lena out completely, left everything to you. I also filed a trigger letter with my lawyer. If any life insurance claim in my name was filed, it would automatically launch a fraud investigation. I stared at him. You planned all this? He nodded. I had a feeling she might try something, but I didn't think she'd move that fast. Noah sat back, eyes glinting. The best part, those photos from Cancun, public proof she wasn't grieving. Combined with the financial records, the investigators will freeze her accounts within days. She'll know something's wrong, I said. She'll panic, he corrected. And when she does, that's when we move. I looked at my son, my once gentle, idealistic son, and saw someone colder now, sharper. This is dangerous, I said. If she finds out you're alive... Then we end it sooner, he interrupted. But until then, we play our roles. You keep acting like the heartbroken father. I stay dead. He closed the laptop. She underestimated both of us, Dad. She thought you'd cry and fade away. She thought I'd stay buried. She was wrong. I nodded slowly. Something inside me hardened. What do you need me to do? For now, he said, just grieve. Visit my grave. Talk to the neighbors. Keep the story alive. In 2 weeks, the insurance investigators will act. When her accounts freeze, she'll come crawling back. He met my eyes, and that's when we spring the trap. The next 2 weeks felt like an eternity. I played my role perfectly, the grieving father who lost everything. I visited Noah's grave twice a week, brought flowers, stood there long enough for the neighbors to see. Sometimes I even talked to the headstone, just to sell it. People pitied me. It worked. Meanwhile, Noah was hiding in a small apartment across town under a fake name. We met late at night in diners or parking lots. Each time he looked a little healthier, a little more like himself. It's working, he told me one night over cold coffee. The investigations are underway. Lena's accounts are about to be frozen. How soon? Tomorrow morning. He smirked. She's been spending like crazy. Over 80 grand in 2 weeks. Tomorrow, she's going to wake up broke. And that's exactly what happened. The next day, my phone buzzed non-stop. 12 missed calls, all from Lena. Her first voicemail was calm. "Timothy, something's wrong with my bank. Can you call me?" The second one cracked a little. "They're saying my accounts are under investigation. Please, I don't understand." By the 8th message, she was sobbing. "They froze everything. I can't pay my hotel bill. They won't let me leave Mexico until it's settled. Please help me." I played the messages for Noah that night. He listened silently, jaw tight. Then he exhaled. "Good. She deserves to feel what she made us feel. Helpless." "She's terrified," I said. He looked at me coldly. "So were we." 2 weeks after the investigation started, the trap finally snapped shut. Lena's calls came non-stop for 2 days. Then silence. No posts, no stories, no selfies in paradise, just silence. I knew that meant she was coming home. Noah had it timed down to the hour. The fraud investigators had frozen every account linked to her name, and the FBI had added her to an active case file. She'd have no choice but to come crawling back to Chicago. When her flight landed, I was ready. She called at 9:47 p.m. that Friday night, her voice trembling. "Tim, thank God you answered. My key won't work. There's a note on the door from the FBI. Can you come over, please?" "Perfect. Exactly like Noah predicted." "I'll be there in 20 minutes, I said, keeping my voice flat. The whole drive there, I kept rehearsing what I'd say. The lies, the sympathy, the final reveal. Her once beautiful house looked different now. Dark, hollow, stripped of all warmth. A single porch light flickered like it didn't want to help her anymore. She was pacing on the front step when I pulled up, mascara smudged, hair tangled, wearing the same clothes she'd probably slept in. "Timothy, thank you. I don't understand any of this. The bank says my accounts are frozen, and this note..." She waved the paper at me. "It says federal investigation. Why would the FBI..." "Let's talk inside," I said. "The door's locked." I took the note from her hand and read it slowly, pretending to see it for the first time. It looked official because it was one of the real notices Noah had arranged through his lawyer. She watched me anxiously. "Is this about Noah's company? Did something happen with his estate?" I kept my voice steady. "Maybe we should call his lawyer." Her relief was instant. "Yes, please. I just need to fix this." I dialed the number Noah had given me, the lawyer who'd been in on the plan. "David, it's Tim Harris," I said loud enough for her to hear. "I'm with Lena. She got a notice from the FBI about an insurance fraud investigation." Lena's face drained of color. "What?" she whispered. I covered the phone and looked at her. "He says it's about multiple life insurance claims filed after Noah's death." "That can't be right," her voice cracked. "Those policies were legitimate. Noah signed them." I pretended to listen to the lawyer. Then I said the line Noah told me to. "Forged signatures, unauthorized withdrawals. I see." I hung up and turned to her. "They found forged documents, Lena. They think you defrauded 3 companies for over $1 million. Her eyes widened in horror. "That's insane. I didn't forge anything." "Then how do they have proof the applications came from your email?" She froze. "What?" I took a slow step closer. "They also found pictures. You, in Mexico, with Diego." Her face collapsed. How do they know about that?" "You posted them yourself." For a second, she looked like she might faint. Then her tone shifted from fear to desperation. "Timothy, please. You know me. You know I loved Noah. I was grieving. I wasn't thinking straight." I cut her off. "You weren't thinking straight when you forged his signature, when you emptied his accounts, when you cashed the checks." Tears spilled down her face. "Please, you have to help me. I don't have anyone else." I turned toward the car. You should have thought about that before you decided my son's death was your ticket to freedom. She grabbed my arm. Timothy, wait! I pulled free. The FBI will be in touch. And I walked away. Through the window, I saw her collapse on the porch steps, sobbing into her hands. But I felt nothing, just cold, quiet satisfaction. The next morning at sunrise, Noah and I sat in a diner on the edge of town, waiting for the call. He looked calmer than I'd ever seen him, almost peaceful. At 7:12 a.m., his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, then looked up at me. They have her. The words hit like thunder. She'd been arrested at a budget motel where she spent the night after I left. Tried to run when they knocked. Didn't make it 10 feet. Insurance fraud, conspiracy, money laundering, federal charges. Her bail was set at $500,000 she didn't have. Noah exhaled slowly. It's over. Wasn't so sure. Not yet. You're still legally dead. He smiled faintly. Not for long. That afternoon, Dr. Lang made it official. He met us at the hospital, nervous but determined. Everything's arranged, he whispered. The paperwork will show it was a case of mistaken identity and a coma misdiagnosis. When we stepped into the room, Noah was already lying in a hospital bed, hooked up to monitors, playing his part perfectly. A nurse entered with a clipboard. Mr. Harris, your son just woke up. It's miraculous. I played along, voice trembling. Noah, can you hear me? He blinked slowly, pretending to come back from the brink of death. Dad, what happened? You've been in a coma for 2 weeks, I said. We thought you were gone. The nurse sniffled. He's lucky to be alive. When she left, Dr. Lang sighed. We'll file the correction today. Once the records update, every insurance claim filed on Noah Harris will be void. Noah sat up slowly, playing the confused patient. You mean she loses everything? Lang nodded. Every cent. Later that evening, after the staff cleared out, Noah and I finally had the room to ourselves. He smiled tiredly. We did it, Dad. I nodded. She's going to prison for a long time. She deserves it, he said quietly. She took everything good in my life and turned it into leverage. I looked at him for a long moment. What now? He leaned back against the pillow. Now I disappear again. Not Noah Harris anymore. Maybe a new name, a new start. I hear Austin's nice this time of year. I chuckled. You're really ready to let go of all this? I already did, he said. I died once, remember? 2 months later, Noah Harris legally ceased to exist. Under a new identity, Ethan Cole, he moved to Texas and started a new consulting business. He kept it small, quiet, clean. No partners, no shortcuts, no lies. And me? I sold the old house and followed a few months later. We started Cole and Harris Consulting, a firm that helped companies detect internal fraud. Irony at its finest. On paper, we were just two businessmen. But beneath the surface, we shared a secret no one else could ever understand. Every now and then, we'd check the news. Lena pled guilty. 12 years in federal prison. No parole for at least 8. Diego, real name Diego Santos, was later arrested in Guatemala for running an international fraud ring. Turns out, Lena was just one of 6 women he'd manipulated into fake insurance schemes. The FBI called it Operation Widow's Web. I called it karma. A year later, on the anniversary of Noah's supposed death, we went back to Chicago. Brought flowers to the cemetery. The headstone still read Noah Harris, 1989-2024. I asked him if he wanted to change it. He shook his head. No, let it stay, a reminder. We stood there in silence. The winter wind cut across the graves, but for once, it didn't feel cold. Do you ever regret it? I asked. He thought for a long moment. Regret surviving? Never. Regret what she made me become? Maybe. I nodded. Justice isn't always clean. No, he said, but it's always earned. As we walked back to the car, I realized something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. She'd tried to profit from death. Instead, we'd built new lives out of the ashes. When people ask me now if I believe in miracles, I just smile and say, once my dead son texted me.